Hey, it's Gayle. So I had a whole bottle of champagne tonight because fuck you, that's why. And I'm Southern, which means it's time for a story. So this is like personal drunk history with Gayle. Um, so I'm going to tell you about the time that I hit a deer. Which, coming from where I grew up, the fact that I've only hit one is kind of a goddamn miracle. But on the other hand, like, there is no terror like deer hitting terror. So the first thing you need to know about the story is that I am not a natural driver. The first time I ever drove a car, I hit a dumpster. Not like a metal dumpster, but like a huge fucking Rubbermaid country dumpster. Um, the second time I ever drove, I almost went into a cornfield. Uh, it actually took me a very long time to decide to drive. I grew up in Arkansas, and at the time, you could get a permit at the age of 14, and I was like 17 and a half when I finally got mine. Like, that's how terrified I was of driving, because I kept fucking hitting things, or almost going into ditches, and I didn't want this responsibility. So, this was years later after I'd gotten comfortable with driving. I had a 1987 Ford F-150 that was farm brown that I called the Beast because it was 100% Detroit steel and nothing was getting through this bastard. It got 16 miles to the gallon. I love this truck. I literally had to jump into the thing if I was in a skirt because to lift my leg that high to get into the truck was obscene. So I went and visited a friend in northern Missouri. And the trip up to northern Missouri went perfectly fine, except literally like 10 feet after the railroad tracks at the edge of my town, I got pulled over for a trooper because I was doing 10 over. And he let me go because it was like 8 in the morning. Who gives a fuck? I do have a bit of a lead foot problem still. And so like I go and visit my friend, we have a great time. I'm driving back on that Sunday, and it's like about 7-ish in the evening, in a late fall evening, and I'm outside of Springfield, Missouri, which puts me a couple of hours from home. And I'm about 10 miles north of Springfield, Missouri on I-44 when I decide I'm going to change lanes because, like, there's no one around me, but up in front of me I can see a semi, and so I'm like, I'm just going to get in the left lane, I'm going to overtake him, it's not going to be a big deal. Like, I don't have to switch lanes for another hour. And so, like, I make this decision, I click on my left blinker, I look down for 1 second to make sure everything's working, I look back up and there's a fucking doe. And I know deer look really fucking pretty. Like, they're beautiful. I love them. But deer, even like does, are like 300 goddamn pounds. And they have no sense of what cars are. And I was trying to swerve away from this deer and I still fucking hit it. And so I hit the deer and I freak out because it's a terrible goddamn noise. And I pull over to the shoulder and I get out of my truck. Now, here's the thing. I did not have a cell phone at the time. This was like when cell phones were just kind of becoming a thing. Like, I didn't have a cell phone until I officially moved out of my parents' house, which was like 6 months after this story. And so, like, there's no payphone nearby. I've just had a very large animal. And I get out of my truck to investigate, and the entire headlight assembly on the passenger side of my truck is gone. I didn't break, like, the lens, I didn't break the bulb. The whole fucking thing is gone. And I'm like, well, shit. And I kind of look around, but it's super goddamn dark, so I don't know what happened to this deer. And as someone who grew up in this area, one of the scariest fucking things that can ever happen is that you crest a hill and there's a dead fucking deer on the road. Like, just fucking run your car into a goddamn bridge. It's gonna be faster. Like, it's so terrible. So I'm like, okay, I need to let someone know that there might be a deer in the middle of the road, but I don't have a cell phone, so I'm gonna take the first exit into Springfield, Missouri, and call someone. And so I do. So a couple of things you need to know about me. One, I have no sense of direction. Literally none. And two, North Springfield was not a place you went. Ever. At the time. It was very shady. And I knew this. And I have anxiety. And so going into North Springfield, I'm like, oh god, I'm gonna die. And I find a hotel and I pull in. It's like a Days Inn or some shit. And I go in. I'm like, I need to use your phone because I hit a deer and I don't know where the fucking body is. And so I call 911 because I can't find a number for like the nearest police station. Because this is not an emergency, it's a situation. So I call 911 and the operator, 911, what is your emergency? And I said, this isn't like a super emergency. Like, I was driving down I-44 coming south and I hit a deer and I don't know what happened to it. And I don't know if it's in the middle of the road, so if like someone could just drive by and check where it is so that no one hits this damn thing. And the operator goes, okay. And she goes, okay, now where did you hit the deer? And I said, I hit it about 10 miles north of town on I-44, and I can hear her typing. So, like, she had listened, and now she was getting the information. She goes, okay, and where is the deer now? So, looking back, I understand the question, because, like, if you hit a deer on the highway, it's free game, so throw it in the back of your truck, go home, have food. But, like, I'm fucking terrified. And I'm, like, 110 pounds. And so she's like, and where is the deer now? Well, I assume it's 10 miles north of Springfield, Missouri on I-44. I don't fucking know. And bless her, she does not break. And she goes, okay, I'm going to send a trooper to you. Where are you? And I give her the name of the hotel. And she goes, I'm going to send a trooper to you to just make sure you're okay. I'm like, great. And at this time, I'm like, I just want to go home. Just let me go home. I get off the phone and then I have to wait for the trooper. And I feel very awkward, like, standing in the lobby of this hotel. And so I, like, just go out and stand by my truck. And the trooper pulls up. And he's got a huge fucking flashlight. And he goes, well, I just want to check your battery and everything before you leave. Like, I want to make sure all of the parts of your car are ready to go. So we pop the hood. And he, like, shines the flashlight around. And he's like, my God. He goes, nothing here is wrong. That's amazing. And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of great. And he goes, how fast were you going? And I'm like, what's the speed limit? And he goes, it's 70. And I went, I was going 70. And he kind of looked at me and he goes, okay, come on. I'm like, all right, I was doing 80. Maybe 85. Because you can get this to 85. I'm like, yeah, I know, it's amazing. So, like, he lets me go because he's kind of amused by the fact that, like, I fucking killed a deer doing 85 in my shit-ass truck. So, the first place to call home is an hour from where I hit the deer. It's a state line. So I get to the state line. The convenience store is closed. The payphone is there. I'm terrified because I've seen too many movies about women being horribly mutilated to payphones in the middle of the night. And, like, I mean, it's still, like, 8 o'clock, but, like, it's dark. And so I call my family, and my dad, bless his heart, I'm like, I hit a fucking deer, and I'm at the state line now, and he goes, how's the truck? And I'm like, no, I'm fine. No, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. Like, the truck. Like, let's worry about the truck. He's like, well, you're on the phone with me, sweetheart. So, like, clearly you're fucking fine. Like, can you get home? And I'm like, that's actually a genuine question. I'm like, yeah, I can get home. I'll see you in an hour. So I get home, and I can't sleep that night because I'm so fucking wired from the anxiety. And I wake up the next morning with, like, one of my first hypoglycemic fits where, like, my blood sugar is crashed and I have to crawl to the kitchen for juice and I have to call into work. And it wasn't until years later that I knew what was going on. But, like, for the rest of the time I had the truck, the headlight assembly was gone because hitting deer is so common where I grew up that I never had to fix it. Because if I got pulled over for having a bad headlight, I could be like, I hit a deer. And they, like, never ask you for stats. They're just like, yeah, you hit a deer, bye. So yeah, that's my story of hitting a deer. If you want more personal drunk history, Ko-fi me, so that I have enough money to buy cheap booze to do this for you. Honestly, I'd tell you these stories sober because I have no shame, but whatever. Anyway, I will see you guys later. Bye.